Hi, I'm Beth,
Hi, I'm Ashley.
and we're Self Care.
Today we're going to be going over Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli.
This one was so fun.
Yes, it was honestly a great read, especially for being a fantasy on Kindle Unlimited.
Yes. So I was a little worried because sometimes fantasies on Kindle Unlimited are kind of like hit or miss, but it was so fun. And it's been a long time since I've read a witch fantasy.
No, I know. I was so excited about that. The only thing that was keeping me off was that there were so many mixed reviews.
Yes.
And
for
I
sure.
was just like, am I going to like it? But honestly, I was like, I really liked it, especially considering it's like YA a little bit.
It is what I think it is. I don't like
YA.
I would consider this YA.
Yeah. It was in the YA section.
I really liked it, and it was a little different. I liked the old world witch vibe.
Yes.
I really liked that. That was fun. And, we've been into historical fiction lately, so I liked that it was set back in...
Yes.
It didn't really say a time, but
you can tell it was kind of like... one review that I did see was like Bridgerton meets like witches kind of thing. Was like... Which I really feel like it's kind of similar to that. Like, I mean, they had the ballroom dances with the little like bracelet and the little like named... or I guess how many dances to give to people, and then it also kind of had like courting and kind of...
I think honestly it could be like a little Netflix series, like Bridgerton.
Yeah.
You know how Bridgerton has like instrumental music that's from today? I could see that going into it. So let's kind of get into it a little bit. Okay. Rune, how did you like her? She was the main character.
I liked Rune really much in the first book.
Yeah.
And I think we'll talk about the first book right now. But I liked her. I think she's a strong character. I thought what she was doing was great. I mean, living that double life was hard. And, acting like you hate what you are. And I think she was just like... She was doing it like just for everyone. But the only thing I do wish is that she obviously prioritized herself a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I mean... What did you think?
Yeah. I really liked her. I liked that she was a strong female character. I'm going to be really honest. I didn't like Gideon, the main male character, in the beginning. Now, I would say about halfway through is when I started being like, okay, he's a decent guy. But I was really more team Alex.
Why? Why do you think that?
I don't know. He was just like such a good friend that I was just like, he's the better choice.
I mean, I liked Alex too, but at the same time, like, if it hasn't been there since day one, like, it's not gonna be there. And like, it would honestly be like even worse for Alex, for her just to like settle, which she kind of did.
She did at the end, which we'll get into. But I don't know. But then again, I mean, it wouldn't be a toxic love story fantasy without a toxic main male character.
And honestly, I feel like, talking about like tropes wise, this was honestly a real like enemies to lovers type of thing.
For sure.
Like, a lot of books say like enemies to lovers, but no, this literally wasn't enemies to lovers.
So I liked that because you don't read a lot of true enemies to lovers, and this one was like legitimate because, I mean, it had the fake dating trope as well, but I feel like that was really kind of a side story because they were both plotting against each other though,
but still liking each other.
Yeah.
Which I really... Did you feel a little bit like... The only thing I will say is like, I felt it was a bit repetitive, just a tiny bit.
Yes, I do think it was repetitive.
Too much, but it was just like a little bit like, okay, this was kind of the same situation like over and over.
And I think that might come from the YA just a little bit, because you heat up the romance, and then in another book where it would come together, the YA is kind of like, oh, but now we got to back off.
Which, that's why I was kind of like going a little bit towards the end, not trying to spoil anything if you haven't read it, but they do kind of like get together, and which in most YA books you don't get to that point. You barely even kiss, and in this book they kind of reach that end,
So I think that this one would be more like a PG-17.
Yeah.
Instead of a PG-13, because most YAs are like PG-13.
Yeah.
So this would be probably a PG-17.
What did you think about her best friend? So
Verity.
Verity and Alex.
My goodness. Okay, so are we going to get into spoilers now?
Yes.
Okay, so spoilers alert. Verity was probably one of my favorite characters.
Really?
I really liked her, but then I started getting suspicious.
I from like the beginning was just like, it's kind of weird. Like
I don't know.
I don't know about this girl.
I did not see that coming until about the middle, and then I was like, something's going on. And then I think the scene when I knew something was going on was when Rune was in her bedroom with Gideon, and she had taken his truth serum. And granted, Verity came in at a good time, but she came in like right when they were getting close, and I was like, that's kind of odd. Like that wasn't like best friend behavior. That was almost jealous behavior.
I did think that was weird, but I didn't think too much about it.
I just had a thought like, different, okay, and then moved on. So
I don't know. I will say that reading this book, I usually don't see many things coming, and every single like plot twist, I knew.
You saw coming?
Like I saw it coming.
You
like,
saw that Verity was Cressida?
Yes, Cressida.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it coming. Like every single little thing, because I'm like, okay, she's acting up. Like this and this. I was like, she's Cressida. Like she's Cressida.
I did not even. I never put that together.
Every single little thing. Like I was just like, okay, this is gonna happen. I was like, that's Cressida. This is this. Like even in the second book, like there was like nothing that surprised me.
Really?
Yeah, that was the only thing that I will say that I think that's why I gave it 4 stars, which I loved it, but I want to be surprised. Yeah. You know? So
that's wild. Yeah, so I was surprised that Verity was Cressida. I also think that it was kind of harsh of Gideon to just assume that Rune was in league with Cressida the whole time.
But I mean, yes, it's hard to believe, but also that was her best friend.
I mean, true. And so, how could she not know?
Mm-hmm.
A little side note before we get into Alex. What did you think about them using their period blood for spells?
I thought that was crazy. I was like, what?
So,
I mean, that's really smart, though.
A little backstory about on it. These witches aren't normal. Like, they have to use their blood or other people's blood for their spells. And the more hard their spells are, the more blood and fresher blood is necessary, all this stuff. And so that's how they found the witches and like torched them, is because they had cuts on them. So Rune never cut herself. She only waited for every month. I was quite surprised. I was also a little disgusted.
But also, like, how TMI, if you will, but how are they catching it? You know, like without like one staining or two. I guess getting that much.
I guess it's like a diva cup situation. I'm not sure.
That's what I was just like. I mean, were those? I guess they were a thing back then. You know,
at least in this world, I guess. So that was wild. I don't know. I mean, very smart.
Yeah. I honestly really enjoyed the world building in this book.
The world building was good.
Mm-hmm. I love the witches thing. What did you think before getting into like Alex and their triangle? About her grandmother.
Honestly, I didn't think much about her.
No.
I mean, obviously she died, and that was... So the fact that she had to turn her own grandmother in just to save herself, which she didn't even know she was a witch at the time. She just didn't want to be a sympathizer. So she turned her in because her grandmother and Alex told her she needed to. And then she didn't shed one tear. She was very, like, stoic about it. I mean, I felt really bad for her. But I also, I don't know. It was just hard for me to like think about the grandmother with all that was going on in the first book. I thought about the grandmother more in the second book, which I think, you know. But yeah, so what did you think about her?
I mean, honestly, I was kind of like upset for Rue. Like, you know, losing her one family member and kind of just like having to go on with society, like shaming her and, you know, type of thing. So I really felt for her.
What did you think about, so I kind of, when you get into it, her grandmother never let her go down to, I'm going to call it the slums because I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Where Gideon and Alex used to
live. Yes, where Gideon and Alex lived. Her grandmother never go there because that's where like riffraff was from. So I kind of was like, oh, her grandmother was kind of a snob.
Yeah, I mean, she would. I mean, they were rich.
They were rich.
They were rich. So. They were they were higher up in society.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can see where that's coming from. Talking about where they grew up and their house and stuff. I mean, Gideon still lives in that same apartment type of thing. And him, I really enjoyed, which I know you didn't, but I really enjoyed him, like, well, one, his parents being like dressmakers, because I feel like you don't really see like the mom and the dad kind of both being into it, but then also like Gideon learning how to do that.
He was as well a tailor.
Yeah, and just like doing that for Rune, like I feel like that was like a major thing that I was like, oh my gosh, like if somebody did that for me, like I would dress. Like perfect for you, because they have like, you know, that creativity that's like, okay, this would go perfect for this person's like colors and eyes, you know.
And then to find out that he did that for Rune and did such a great job, then to find out that Cressida had, you know, his I mean, I would say she was like almost his captor, like, you know. That's originally how it started with her, as he was making her dresses, tailoring her dresses, all that stuff. He was her personal dressmaker. I don't know, like it had a little bit more significance, I guess, that he did it for Rune. So I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
The beginning, it gave me the ick because I was like, I don't really know if I want my man making me a dress.
Oh, good.
But
come on.
He was just so like masculine during the whole book.
He's like
that
the
it
manliest.
softened him up. Like, I don't know.
I love that. I love that in a guy, like having like the two sides, you know?
For sure.
So I ate that
It
up.
grew on me. It grew on me. And it's something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I've never read a fantasy like that.
I did love that he wasn't like the typical kind of guy that's just like, you know, the grumpy type of guy, which I loved. He's more like into like, one, saving the world, and two, just I don't know, he had more to him than just purpose. Than being like a grumpy kind of, you know, just going through life type of guy.
Agreed. So what did you think about Alex?
I really liked Alex. I feel I knew like since like day one that he liked her, because one scene that you could really tell, I think, was when they were laying in bed and like they were kind of like cuddling, and I was like, this guy.
Yeah, he's like she had totally put him in the friend zone, but he was trying to get out.
Which to me, I'm like, I want to be like Rune. How did you never know? Like, I don't understand.
I feel like she just didn't want to see,
or she was, I don't know. I guess just not like self-aware.
Yeah.
But I'm like, he did all this for you just to be a best friend? Like, no guy does that.
Yeah, no. Just the fact that he knew from day one about her being a witch, he helped her with her.
I mean, even when she found out at his birthday party at that one house, and he's like, okay, let me get you a bath and tea, and you know, just such a great guy. I really think that I wish he got a better ending.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, honestly, even if they would have ended up together, I wouldn't have been upset.
Like, I wouldn't have been upset either, because I think, I mean, but I don't think that they would have set it up for the next book as well if they ended up together. But I wouldn't have been upset if they
I honestly would have even liked to see a little glimpse of how their life would have been.
Oh yeah, that would have been good.
That would have been good. But I understand it was such a good plot twist and ending to set up the next book.
It was so his character to stand in front of his brother, because even when he was helping Rune with all of this stuff, he still would never betray his brother, and he would never betray Rune to his brother. He was loyal to them both until the end when he stole the coin.
Yeah, and he picked eventually Rune over Gideon.
Right. But stepping in front of his brother, taking that bullet, that was a good ending for him, just because that was him.
He was loyal, and I mean, keeping on with the Sharp boys, just talking about their family dynamic, I mean, they had such a rough life.
For sure.
I mean, having both their parents killed and their little sister.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was just hard.
Yeah. So that's when you really see like the horrors that they had to go through, like locking their little sister in a room, letting her die alone. She was 12, I believe. I mean, she was horrible. Horrible. Yeah. So we start the book on one of Rune's missions, and she's going to rescue a witch. Seraphine? Is that how we're saying it? Seraphine? Okay, so did you know that she was going to be so significant?
I mean, one, I felt like she was going to be significant, because why would her grandmother keep telling Rune to like, if you want all the answers, find her?
Okay.
The other two, I didn't think. I guess I thought one, she would be more powerful, I guess. Like if she's like this like ancient witch that doesn't age and looks so good. And then she just kind of
fell in with Cressida And so I was like, what?
Kind of towards the end, I was just like, why? I don't know.
What were your predictions on why she looked so young? Did you have any, or did you just think she was a powerful witch?
No, I thought she was just like a really powerful witch doing something to herself to keep her young.
Okay.
Never did I think of, if you haven't read the second book, we'll talk about this in the second book, but
of what it was, yeah,
of what it actually ended up being the reason.
Never guessed that. Yeah. Harrow.
I for the first book, I was like, that was kind of like the grumpy character.
Yeah.
Which I thought she was kind of funny, and I thought it was nice to see Gideon and Harrow kind of interact with
have a friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just I thought they were.
She was suspicious
of them.
I just thought she was suspicious in general. I thought she was a bad guy. Bye. Yeah, I thought she was a bad guy, but I don't feel like she ended up being bad. She was just loyal to her country.
Well, just because, giving a little backstory on Harrow, she, it doesn't really say her story till the second book, but all we know in the first book is that she got her ear cut off.
By a witch.
So she only has one ear. And so, I mean, I could understand why she's going out for the witches and, type of thing. But you don't really know much about her character, really.
The Creed siblings. So, honestly, they don't talk about them much in the first book. Mostly, it's how Layla doesn't like Rune. Mm-hmm. She's suspicious of her from the beginning, which, wow, good on her. And then Noah, Rune has been trying to get close. She has several men on a list, and they're all suitors that would help her cause.
Which Verity made.
Yes. Didn't even see that one. Like, I didn't even see that little hint. But yeah, so they're all suitors, and Noah's on this list. And so when she doesn't pick Noah and she ends up picking Gideon, we kind of see a little bit of jealousy start in this book, and then it kind of bubbles over to the next book. But overall, I feel like her romance with Gideon and then her eventual capture by Gideon, her friendship with Alex, all of it was just really well written to me.
Yeah, to me it was really well written. All the little action scenes when they're like in that abandoned like maze railroad thing, like it was just kind of like kept me going. Is she gonna get caught? Is she not gonna get caught? And the fact that he didn't find out who she was in that chapter was crazy to me.
The only way he even found out was because he followed her, trying to like tell her, "Oh no, I love you," like whatever you heard wasn't true, and he saw her spell room.
Yeah.
So I just think it was so good, and So how did you feel about when they got out of the prison?
Well,
do you feel like the ending was rushed at all?
I don't feel like it was rushed, but I do feel like, I don't know, I would have wanted a little bit different kind of story.
Yeah.
For
sure.
But, overall, I think it was really good. It really set up the next book, which I loved because you don't always see that.
Yeah.
There's sometimes you're like, do I want to read the next one? Do I not? And this one was like immediate buy.
The cliffhanger was just right to get me to read it. And I read it the next day.
Yeah, like immediately. And what I did love about this book was just the characters, the world building, kind of like how it was set. Like, I love this book. Like, I was so into it, and just seeing how the witches were portrayed. Like, it just really was a big topic.
And I loved that we kind of focused on not all witches are bad, but there are bad witches. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it really came together. I was a little bit sad that it was YA because I feel like written as more of an adult fantasy book, not for smut or anything like that, but I feel like the romance would have been better. The slow burn would have been better. And that's why I rated it 4 stars.
Okay.
Because the slow burn wasn't quite enough for me.
Slow burn isn't my favorite. Now, I wouldn't say, I feel like they weren't really slow burn.
Oh, really?
No, I feel like since like the first couple, I mean, since their first like date that she invited him over when she had that party at her house, like they were already like
that's true.
like almost kissing.
I
Like
guess
it wasn't
that's
really for me. Well, for me, in how I read it, it wasn't a slow burn. It was just really like a I like you, but I don't want to type of thing. And it kind of took a while for them to accept like, okay, I can like you, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But overall, good book. I rated it a 4. Would definitely read it again.
I rated it a 4 as well.
In a year or so, and I would definitely recommend it.
Yes, especially because it's a duology, which I loved.
Yeah, if it can be summed up in 2 books,
love it.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Just because you're not waiting around for the author to write more books. So let us know what you think. Kindle Unlimited. So if you have it, easy to read, and we'll see you next time.